Welcome back for part 2 of Brave Harriet, sorry about that. Our first female pilot that ever got her license. Pretty cool, huh? And she, remember, wanted to fly across the English Channel from England to France. And remember, her friend Gustav offered to dress up like her and make the flight. And she said, no way, Jose, right? And we were wondering and learning. Sorry, my board it doesn't erase very well. And so at 5:35, my plane left England's soil and on to France. That's where we left off yesterday. So we're gonna wonder and write down what we learned. It was my first time to fly by compass. It was my first time to fly over water. And it was my first time to cross the English Channel. The crossing was all I had imagined it to be. The blue overhead, the blue beneath, the blue all around. Below me, I could see a tugboat full of reporters following my path. A tugboat, so they were, there it is. They didn't have drones back then to record it. Then they disappeared as I wrapped in thick mist. The blue was gone and there was nothing to see but white, a cold, wet whiteness like the foam of a wave. How do you think she felt? I wonder if she was scared. That's what I'm wondering. Was she scared? Oh, and what did we learn? It was really nothing too much on that page, right? Okay. Oh, here's the cover of our book. By 6 o'clock, my goggles had clouded up. That doesn't seem safe for a pilot. So I pushed them up on my forehead. Without them, I still only saw whiteness. I should have been terrified, but it was oh so beautiful. I had my compass to guide me. All I had to do was follow the path east and trust my plane to do the rest. So we answered our wonder, right? She was not scared. I would be scared if I was flying a plane and couldn't see anything. I get scared enough when it's raining really hard in the car and I have a hard time seeing. That doesn't look good. Is that upside down? By 6:30, however, I was so cold, I could barely feel my own hands. The white fog had crept into my bones, and I worried I would not stay awake. The plane suddenly lurched, that means move forward, and I was sharp attention again. Something was wrong. The plane tilted sharply. The motor began to make a sound. There was no time to think, only to act. I lowered the plane as steadily as I could, hoping to pancake onto the water with a gentle gliding. Pancake means just kind of go flat. What are you wondering? Is she going to crash? Is she going to crash? That's what I'm wondering. You might have something different, and that's okay. But just as suddenly as the trouble began, the sparking stopped and the motor purred smoothly again. And now below the clouds, I could see the coast of France. So again, we answered our question there. So she was okay. My fingers still numb with cold. My heart still pounding from the sparks. I didn't even look for Calais, but brought the plane, that's where she was going in France, but brought the plane to land on the sandy beach. It was all over so quickly. It was scarcely 7 o'clock a.m. and I had come so far. So her flight ended about 7 o'clock in the morning. Do you remember what time she left? 5:35 a.m. So to figure out how long she flew for, 5:35 to 6:35, that's 1 hour. And then 35 to 7 o'clock, 35:40, 45:50, 55 to 7. Okay, so the flight was 1 hour, 5:35 to 6:35, and then 6:35 to 7 is, we counted, and it was 5, and it's increments of 5, 1 hour, 25 minutes. So about an hour and a half. Okay, so this is going to be a place where you have something that you learned and something that you wonder, and that's going to be your discussion post. One learned, not what we did together, something totally different, and one wonder, not what we did together, something totally different, all on your own, so I can see your thinking. So you're going to have something here and something new here. And this is your DP, your discussion post, okay? Something independent. And if you can't think of something right away, you might have to go back and rewind me and listen to the page again. I'm gonna stay pretty quiet here so you can get your own learn and wonder without me giving any clues. Look at that newspaper headline. It doesn't say anything about Harriett. It says Titanic disaster. Do you know what the Titanic is? That big cruise ship in 1912 that crashed into an iceberg. So listen carefully. Remember, and I learn and I wonder. A crowd of French fishermen and their families rushed over to greet me, the great fish fallen from the sky. The women hoisted me aloft so that they picked her up in triumph, while the men pushed my plane up the beach away from the rising tide. It was a wonderful welcome. Best of all, one fishwife set up a table right there on the beach and sat me down to a good hot cup of tea. Remember, she was cold. As I warmed my hands around the thick, wide, streaming bowl, I could see the headlines already. So she's visualizing what she thinks the newspaper is going to say. American woman flies over the channel. Remember, that's what she was visualizing in her head. And it might have been so. It truly might have been. But it was April 16th, 1912. And for that day and for days after, there was another news headline. The Titanic sank. Okay, so what did you just learn there? And what could you be wondering about Harriett? I'll read that last paragraph again. And it might have been so, and it truly might have been, but it was April 16th, 1912. And for that day and for days after, there was another headline. I'll give you time to write. Sorry. Just ready to finish it. So what did you just learn? Instead of Brave Harriett headline, what happened? On the same day that she made her amazing flight, the first ever, did she get recognized for it? What could you be wondering? How do you think it made her feel? But it didn't matter because I knew I had done it. I'd had my time in the clouds, my time surrounded by blue, and that was enough for me. So no matter what, she was still satisfied and proud of herself. She didn't need the recognition. But it's pretty cool that we have a biography to give her some recognition. Brave Harriet, Harriet Quimby. So here is a photograph, oh, very cool, of when she landed. Remember they said the women hoisted her up, they picked her up? So there, that's her, that's Harriet, and there's the women picking her up. Way long time ago. Okay. So again, this is a biography. It's a true story. And we are going to be wondering and learning for the next couple weeks with biographies, because it's about a famous person. And remember, when we wonder, we're understanding what we read more, and we're remembering what we read more. And we also are going to be learning information because they are biographies, they are true stories. I hope you enjoyed this story. Next week, we'll have a new biography. And don't forget, you have a discussion post. One, something you learned at the end, which I pretty much gave it to you. So you should be able to get that. And one, I wonder, what could you be wondering about Harriet? Don't forget to write your discussion post. Complete sentences, periods, and ending marks. Thank you so much.